It's the 20th edition of this particular run, and the Future Makers program will be the biggest benefactor of this. Young people, especially girls and people with disabilities, get a chance to learn, earn and grow because you registered for the marathon. Do it again this year and join throngs of people coming out for the 20th edition of the Nairobi Standard Chartered Nairobi Marathon.
Again, of the Nairobi what?
Of the Standard Chartered Nairobi Marathon.
Okay.
Voila.
Very good. Very good. Somebody that we expect to be joining us on that Sunday is the Honorable John Mbadi, the chairman of the Orange Democratic Movement Party. Will you be there?
I can't tell us that now.
It's important.
It's too early.
What you do
what
is you register first.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
No, do will register for me. It's how much?
It's 2,000
shillings.
I can't afford that.
Yeah,
you'll do it.
Mheshimiwa.
I even have government debt, the taxes. my salary was negative, so I have to pay.
Wamekata yote.
Imeenda.
Wamekata yote.
Na si umeongezewa mshahara juzi.
Imeenda.
SRC did like that.
Hiyo imeenda kabisa.
Ai.
No.
Pole mheshimiwa.
Usijali.
Pole. Live within your means.
To mheshimiwa.
Because I passed the law.
You passed the law.
Yes.
Passed the finance bill.
We passed the finance bill.
Kaza kina mramba. Karibu sana the mheshimiwa.
Thank you.
It's good to have you. He is the nominated member of parliament and chairman of ODM City. The proverb, please.
Simple, straightforward, and to the point. A proverb from the country of Sierra Leone. A black cow also gives white milk.
A black cow also gives white milk. This is a proverb from Sierra Leone.
Sierra Leone.
Yeah, and you said today's proverb is just...
Today's Thursday, the
You're
day
not
before
complicating
Friday.
issues.
I don't want things that are bothering the mind. Straightforward. You can't misunderstand it even if you want to.
Or if you woke up very early in the morning.
Yes. A black cow also gives white milk.
Also gives white milk.
Yes.
Mheshimiwa, what do you interpret from this proverb?
Well, maybe my simple understanding is that don't pass judgment. That you're seeing something is something that you don't expect may come out of someone, or something that you not imagine would produce it.
Don't be quick
So
to
don't pass judgment on me, thinking that I'm of no value or no use at all. I may surprise you. There's element of
You know what you said? I hadn't looked at it that way. But it means, no, seriously, but then it means, I'm thinking,
yes.
Don't look at someone and don't think they're capable of great things. Don't, because you don't know. If someone else, another human being has done it, or that person could very well do exactly the same thing, if not better.
So do you think this also would apply for black sheep?
As in?
Black sheep also gives white milk.
I've heard of goat milk.
But
I've never heard of sheep milk.
Sheep produce milk. Come on.
Yeah,
No. Let me
never heard of
let me just repeat what I have said.
Sour.
I've heard of goat milk. I've never heard of sheep milk.
Have you heard of a cheese called pecorino?
I've heard of cheese.
No, a particular cheese called pecorino
No.
comes from the milk of a sheep. So
As I said,
I get you, CT. I'm just giving
I
you a
have
little
never
bit
heard.
more information.
You know, I'm repeating this
Okay,
so
now
that you
you've
understand.
heard as of
you see,
today.
now I have heard. So I even know that sheep produce pecorino.
Okay. I was bringing the sheep story because in ODM there now people are considered
Black sheep. Oh,
More than one.
That's why I was careful to mention that black sheep, the usage of black sheep.
That's why I didn't come to you. I went to city. I was talking to you indirectly from the corners. Mheshimiwa,
Yes.
the National Executive Committee of the Orange Democratic Movement Party sat and considered the report of the disciplinary committee of the party, which is a structure of the party, and then decided, you know what, this is what the action that we are taking on several members whom we had, who were on that report. Some of them out, others in. This matter has gone, of course, to the dispute resolution mechanism. But then, is this...
Go on.
Why get there?
Why get there?
Yeah.
It's because it's provided for in law. let me put it in perspective. I
Yes.
think this process has been on for long. I think we're just picking the tail end of it and making big stories out of it. But this process has taken long. Around March, there were complaints on a number of members of the party. I think 12 in total. 4 were members of the county assemblies. Then we had 8 members of parliament, both Senate and National Assembly. The complaint came largely first from one member. That is the governor, Senator of Migori County, complained about 8 members. Then there were also complaints from a number of our membership in Nairobi on Esther Passaris, Honorable Esther Passaris in particular, and Honorable Felix Oduor. We also had complaints from Kisumu County. Now, our procedures are straightforward, that when complaints come, they come to the chairman of the party, the national chairman, which is an office I hold. So the national chairman looks at the complaint, the substance, the merits, whether it makes sense or it's out of malice. If I'm convinced that there is something that really needs to be looked into, then I forward the cases to the standing committee of the party, which is the disciplinary committee. The disciplinary committee is fairly independent, I would say. They conduct their activities independently from other structures of the party or organs of the party, despite the fact that it's a creation of NEC. But then once they finish or conclude their report, that is not the end of it. The report is submitted to the National Executive Committee for consideration. Now, if the report recommends any other punishment, or first let me say, if the report recommends that the members or the member in question, the allegations are not substantiated or the allegations are of no substance, then the NEC would uphold the same. If they recommend punishments, which is not expulsion, then again, NEC would consider, can agree with them, or even disagree, or can disapprove the report, or vary the content of the report. But finally, if it is expulsion, then the matter has to end at the National Governing Council. Now, National Governing Council is both the National Executive Committee and all elected members of Parliament and a Council of Governors of the party. So that is the final end, if it is expulsion. If it is any other punishment, it doesn't have to go to the National Governing Council.
In which of these institutions does the party leader sit?
The party leader is basically a member of almost all party organs, from National Delegates Conference, which is the highest organ of the party, to the National Governing Council, which is the second, the National Executive Committee, which is the third, and finally what we call the Central Committee. Central Committee is actually an offshoot. It was a creation of the National Executive Committee because certain decisions require urgent and immediate action. So we felt that the membership of NEC, which is 52 or thereabout, is so big that for you to summon NEC all the time that you want to deal with party matters may be practically impractical. So we the party created the Central Committee. Central Committee is a thin, lean organ of the party, but it is an offshoot of NEC. It really doesn't have to sit. If NEC sits, then that's it.
Okay.
Central Committee is actually like a subcommittee of NEC, if so to say. So the party leader sits in those organs. The only organs where party leader does not sit is from the county coordinating committee going down. Yes. And so is the national chairman of the party.
Uko kwa yote?
I am in all of them except from the county now going down. But again, I am a member of I can sit in the county committees, branch committees, and the ward committee, but I really don't have to.
You don't have to sit there.
Because I'm being careful there, allow me, Eric, because our constitution says that the national chairman chairs all committees of the party where he sits, but except Central Committee and from county going down. Which all of them have the chairs. The Central Committee is chaired by the party leader.
Okay.
Yeah.
If the disciplinary committee brings back a report that says we find the complaint against a certain member unfounded. Can the National Executive Council reject that and say, no, we think there's something that you left?
Yeah, the National Executive Committee can, but would recommend reconsideration, the matter to be retried. But we cannot prescribe punishment out of nothing.
You cannot overturn and say, no, this person did wrong and this is a punishment.
No, we cannot do that. Okay. If the disciplinary committee finds a member to be innocent in terms of the allegations, then the only thing we can do is that probably we look at the report and make a recommendation that you have not considered all the facts. Can you consider 1, 2, 3? Yeah. If they consider the same and come up with the same verdict, we really don't have much leeway or space to vary their report adversely.
Yes. Well, Chairman, before Ndu comes in, there was a report last week after the decision of the National Executive Committee was made public.
Yeah.
Following reports were all right. So the disciplinary committee had recommended action on many members.
Yes.
But the committee sat and varied some of those decisions.
Yes.
And it was on the insistence or influence of the party leader. For example, the decision on Esther Passaris that the punishment meted out on Esther Passaris is not necessarily the punishment that had been recommended by the disciplinary committee. And it came from the party leader. True, false?
Who is giving that information?
It was in the news, Buana. You didn't read the paper?
I read the paper. And it was not correct. Because I chair the National Executive Committee. I know that, yes, we varied the committee recommendations on Esther Passaris, not adversely, but favorably. But it did not come from the party leader. I will tell you, Esther Passaris herself is a member of NEC. But when we were discussing this matter, she had to leave the meeting. But Esther Passaris had actually expressed apology to the party on the basis of what she did regarding she changed her mind on what she told the committee. And that is why we have the organs of the party, the NEC. In fact, if it is an expulsion, you are still even allowed to change your mind and appear before National Governing Council and say something different from what you told the NEC. And you can tell them, yes, I've since realized that there's a problem. So could you please pardon me for 1, 2, 3. So this matter was considered by NEC, and we varied the punishment favorably to Esther Passaris. That's a fact. But as to say that it was the party leader who made the decision, that is not correct. We have a membership of NEC of over 50. And it was a discussion. And I want to repeat, I chaired that meeting. And I gave members, in fact, on matters of Esther Passaris, we had about 8 members who made the contributions with varied degrees of proposals. In fact, some were proposing very higher fines. Some were even saying we shouldn't fine her. So we finally arrived at, in fact, the general consensus was like, we fine her 500,000. But finally it was agreed at 250. So this was really discussed elaborately. And I will tell you, of all these cases, the one that was discussed a lot more was the one for Esther Passaris. So it is not true that is the party leader who probably made his contribution like any other member. And usually in a meeting like this, I don't give the party leader a chance to speak before. In fact, he knows before other members. So because he will influence their thoughts. So, and I also don't give my view before other members make their contributions. And I wish our meetings were televised live. You would confirm that that is the truth. I have experience in chairing committees now, and I think I did a good job on that particular day.
All right. Can we look into the details of the crux of the matter here in terms of the reasons as to why we saw varying levels of, one would say, reprimand, whether it was expulsion, whether it was a demand for an apology and a fine, or whether it was a fine alone, or just an apology. What was the problem? There's been speculation, and it is rife, it still continues to be, that the major problem would have been that there was a level of fraternization with the government of the day, which is in direct opposition to the tenets of the party. Is that the case, or is there something else?
Yeah, there were two issues which were facing these members. I want to maybe restrict myself. Let me leave the MCAs out because it appears we are not giving them much attention now, probably later. The 4 MCAs had a totally different case. But the 8 members of parliament, both Senate and the National Assembly, had almost similar cases. Members of the National Assembly had a case on issue of voting on finance bill, which the party had taken a stand. And I remember we had a PG. We held actually 2 PGs where we made it clear. We whipped our members. You know, where a whip is cracked or applied, then you don't have space to make independent decision. That is how it works in civilized democracy. And we are trying to make Kenya a civilized democracy. We hope we will succeed.
You're trying to.
Yeah, we are trying
Not yet,
because there are a lot of challenges still. You can see this is one of them. So on the finance bill, we had issues with the members of the National Assembly. All of them, all these members, the 7 of them, voted against the interests of the party. Some did not come, some voted against the interests of the party. So that was one case which was tried. We took, remember, we had Honorable Passaris, we had Felix Odur, we had Karoli Omondi, and those are the ones who faced the issue of voting on finance bill. The others, then there was the issue of promoting and furthering the interests of another political party. Now, that is where I think we need to be clear. Remember, at this time when these members went to State House, the so-called State House meeting, State House 1, because now
there have been
there are a
several.
number
There
of
have been
meetings
others,
after.
yes.
The party had pronounced itself. That is the time we had fresh information regarding the outcome of the last year's election, on where the whistleblower had given us other facts which we didn't have. And the party leader made it clear that we don't recognize the leadership, the presidency of William Ruto. That same week is when these members decided to go against that and visit State House, basically legitimizing what we were saying is illegitimate government. That is clearly in contravention of the interests of the party. And I want to be clear that we are not expelling these members. I think there has been the misinformation, so to speak, that we are expelling the members. If you look at the Political Parties Act, there are various actions that could be taken against a member. One of them is expulsion. And I want to invite you to go and read Section 14 of the Political Parties Act. There is Section 14B, which talks about expulsion, how a member should be expelled and the grounds upon which a member can be expelled. But Section 14B, which is distinct, is about deeming a member to have resigned from the party. That is the section we are applying. And I would...
you're not expelling.
We are not expelling.
You're
In fact,
sitting
if we were
and
expelling the
considering,
members...
wewe mwenyewe ulienda.
If we were expelling them, we would have taken them to the National Governing Council. Allow me just to quickly read, Eric, together with your colleagues.
This is the Political Parties
The Political
Act.
Parties Act, Section 14A. When a member may be deemed to have resigned from a political party. A person who, while being a member of a political party, shall be deemed to have resigned from the party if that person, there are a number of reasons, forms another political party, joins in the formation of another political party, joins another political party, but
Joins
in any way...
in the formation of another political party.
Yes, joins another political party, or joins in the formation of another political party, or joins, forms another political party. It's different from joining another political party.
Right.
So there is forms another political party, joins in the formation of a political
That
party.
is participating in the formation of another political
Yes,
party.
or joins another political party, where you simply say, I am moving from ODM to Ford Kenya. In any way or manner, publicly advocates for the formation of another political party. But where I'm interested in is the E, promote the ideology, interests, or policies
Of another political
party. And interests, Latif, Muga and Ndu, interest is interest. So we have a political party, ODM, which has its interests.
Right.
The moment you promote the interest of another political party, which is not ODM, and you're a member of ODM, you are deemed to have resigned. That is the law. It is not Mbadi saying.
Sorry.
It's the law saying.
I really, really want to understand the position from which the party was seeing this. So when you talk about promoting the ideologies, interests of another political party, how exactly does this play out?
How does it play out? The ODM party has expressed its interests. And I want to give you 2 examples.
Okay.
One of our interests was that we are not recognizing the presidency of William Ruto.
Okay.
If you go and publicly say you recognize the presidency of William Ruto, are you promoting our interests? The answer is no. Okay. You are promoting the interest of UDA, which recognizes William Ruto as the president. Secondly, if ODM
even if the pronouncement by you deem the pronouncement by your political party to be illegal,
you see, if you don't agree with the political party, there are channels to follow. You come before the meetings of that political party and make your reservations. The moment the party
until then you are bound by that.
You are bound by it. In fact, when a party adopts a position, a policy, and communicates it, if you don't agree with it, there are channels to follow. I mean, we are not saying that we are forcing Ndu to be an ODM. You have freedom of association. But the moment
once you are inside,
in a member of ODM, there are certain things that you must do. And again, another interest, let me just also quickly explain this. The party has sat down and has made, we know we have political party outside and parliamentary political party.
Yeah.
ODM is a parliamentary political party.
In that
it has the requisite numbers in the National Assembly and the Senate to qualify as a political party.
The parliamentary.
In parliament. Now, once a PG of a party is constituted and we adopt a position and a whip is applied, that now we are going to reject finance bill. And we had 2 meetings.
Yeah.
You cannot again turn around and say you don't agree with it, that you vote against it. Because the interest of ODM is to protect the Kenyans from high taxation. And we have communicated it. Now you go ahead and vote for the same, you are working against the interest of ODM. So what you need to do if you are a civilized person, and that is why I say we are not in a civilized democracy, nobody is forcing you. We are a multi-party democracy. But the best thing to do is to dissociate yourself from that political party. Disengage. But the law is good because our law says you are deemed to have resigned. So what we are required to do, and if I went down, I'll tell you, is to notify the registrar. And the registrar needs to act in 7 days.
Promoting interests of another political party.
Yes.
I'm sure you'll agree with me, Mheshimiwa. That's a very dicey one and a very thin one. If you attend the National Delegates Conference of another political party, are you promoting the interests of that political party?
If it is a party that is in competition.
All parties are in competition. What do you mean?
With our party. No.
Some are
we
in
are
coalition.
In coalition with some political parties. And in fact, that is an exemption that is provided here. That promoting the interests of another political party excludes coalition.
Those ones are in coalition.
So if today I attend the PG of Wiper, there is nothing wrong with that. Because Wiper is, as at now, in a coalition with ODM. And therefore, we are furthering the same interests.
Right.
The time that we will realize that the 2 parties are not promoting the same interests, then we disengage. And provisions are there on how to disengage.
If you participate in the formation of a political party, are there riders as well?
In law? No, I have not seen any exemption. But to me, I think it is pretty...
So if you participated in the formation of Azimio, a political party?
that is provided.
Okay.
If you let me just read to you that it says subsection 1C,
Yes.
D and E, the ones that I read earlier, shall not apply to a member of a political party which enters or proposes to enter into a merger or coalition with another political party. So if you are forming a coalition political party, that you are not considered to have promoted another or you have participated in the formation of another political party.
Let's take a break. We'll continue this conversation shortly.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Recommendation. But the two, Abur and Nyamita, actually Nyamita even agreed that if these non-ODM members cannot represent me, I can get rid of them. And so he let them go. He sat there and explained himself. And I'm told he was very good when now the lawyers left. Now Abur even had a justification why he behaved, or he has been behaving the way he has been behaving. And the reason he gave was that he has been given only one committee, yet there are members. In fact, I'm told he came with evidence that there's a member who had 5 committees. I don't know who
belongs to 5 committees.
I don't know whether that is really true, because I think, there has been complaint about allocation of committees, which will happen in any parliament. But to the extent of one member having 5, I think that is not correct. But he had a justification.
So he said he was feeling spited.
Yes. So, but we said that even though he has only one committee and that is a complaint, he has other avenues to address it. So that is why we fined him, and that is why we asked him to tender apology.
Okay.
Again, you saw them back to State House. I am blind to that until it is brought to my desk. But people have been giving examples of other members, Memusi, Kanchori, saying 1, 2, 3. If the complaint does not come to the chairman formally, although now I have a letter already, I know there's a letter addressed to me on Memusi Kanchori from Kajiado, then we take action. But you cannot tell us to just start looking for non-Luos also to punish, to balance off the numbers. I don't think that's correct.
So let's look at a little bit of chronology in terms of what happened after then. You now spoke to the registrar saying, look, by the nature of their action, essentially they've resigned, call for further action. There was an appeal by them to say that, look, but interestingly enough, that they appealed on expulsion. Or what did they appeal on, number one? And then number two, thereafter, we've seen, this meeting at State House where, according to reports, certain things were said or done. How does this change or tinker with the current situation?
Yeah, I know the matter is before the political parties dispute tribunal. These members have gone there, and that is their right, because again, the law allows the same. I've heard they're complaining they're being expelled from the party.
In fact, they have appealed an expulsion. Yes.
We haven't expelled them.
Okay.
And I want to repeat that according to the law, we have not expelled them.
You've only deemed
they are
them
deemed to have resigned, and we made a resolution as NEC to inform the registrar that the following members are deemed, who have been members of ODM, are deemed to have resigned from ODM, and the grounds are A, B, C, D, and so initiate the process of removing them from the register, which should be done in 7 days from the date of notification. So they have gone to court. Our lawyers are there. I'm not a lawyer myself. I understand these things because I've been a lawmaker for long, but I'm not a lawyer, trained lawyer. So our lawyers will deal with it. Whether it goes all the way, we actually as a party said we are ready to go all the way to the Supreme Court on this matter. Why? Because we feel it is at the heart and core of our democracy. If we allow this to continue, who will correct it? We can't just ignore that our country, that is the way we work.
So what you're trying to push for is discipline within a political party.
Discipline within political, and to promote democracy, because this country is a multi-party democracy.
Right.
If we weaken political parties, we are weakening democracy. Look, if Kenya Kwanza decides if you form government and you decide to raid other political parties and take their members,
Yeah.
where is democracy there? Where is democracy? And how then will we check the excesses of governments? Because governments world over, and in our case, will always have goodies to entice, both private and maybe public. So if you allow it, that is business as usual, then where will it end?
But at what point do you promote democracy? Is there a point where you say we shall have regular conversations and listening to what our members and our leaders are saying, what our members and our leaders are feeling disgruntled about, and we shall address? Do you have mechanisms for addressing? For example, that member who feel that they were sidelined in getting positions in political party committees. Of course, that's not the first time that he was talking about it when he appeared before the disciplinary committee. He must have raised it before, formally, informally. He must have come and spoken to the leadership of the party within parliament and said, come on, guys, only one committee. But have there been mechanisms of listening to him and saying, let's address this before this?
I cannot sit here and deny that there are no unfair treatments at times in terms of how we deal with our membership. It is not happening today alone. I've been minority leader, and at times members could come and complain, genuinely so, that we have not been fairly treated. Look, I've just been given this one committee. Other members have been given more. Some members complain about our region not being represented well. So we deal with those. And I don't know whether these members have approached the leadership of the House. I am no longer a leader of the House. Whether they have approached the leadership of the House and canvassed their issues. But even if the leadership of the House fails you, you can defer now to the leadership of the party outside the House. And I have no formal complaint or formal communication from these members expressing themselves formally that we have not been fairly treated. If that happened, then we will take it up.
Which is what I'm asking. I mean, this is one instance where you'd say, okay, let's follow formal channels. But
Yes.
why must you follow formal channels if you're a party that is a champion for democracy and one that listens to all its members?
Yeah, but that is why, Latif, I said, I cannot read your mind and know that you are suffering. You have to formally communicate it. So these members should prove that actually, like, it's one member who complained about the committees.
Yeah.
He should prove that he communicated to the party leadership. And this is the evidence that he communicated to us and we took no action.
Okay.
And then that becomes a problem on our part as the leadership of the party. But you cannot wait until you commit another crime and then use your tribulations or suffering elsewhere to justify why you acted the way you did. We first of all deal with your problem, the mistake you committed. Then if there's something to correct about what happened to you, then we correct it.
Is there room for debate within the party? If we want to look at how members would have voted on the finance bill, for example, and maybe there is a reason as to why somebody thought in a different direction, as opposed to taking the blanket, like the position of the party is that we are voting against the finance bill. And maybe in their mind, there was some kind of thinking that went in the other direction, for whatever reason. Is there room for this kind of discussion to take place within the party and say, look, I, John, feel this certain way. I think that this would help 1, 2, 3. Or is it just, this is the position, you do not think outside of that, and this is how we are going to vote? Is there room that's created for that kind of thought within the party?
Something that you can give to ODM is that it is the only political party in this country which has functional structures. I would tell you without blinking an eye. If you look at other political parties, the only time you hear about them is when there is a crisis in those political parties. They don't even hold meetings. I don't know whether when you remember even Ford Kenya holding any meeting of its organs, but that is a subject for another day. I will tell you this. You see, we have two issues here, like when it comes to voting in parliament. There are matters which are not so weighty. that the party allows its members to. We don't whip members every day to vote with a conscience. If it's a matter of, let's say, abortion, and it happens everywhere, matters of abortion, matters of gay issues, matters of animal rights, etc. You can vote the way you want
Okay.
with your conscience. But when it is a matter that is in the heart of policy of a political party, like the finance bill, then you don't leave it to individual whims. It must be coordinated, a whip must be applied. And for this matter, and you all are aware that if there is any bill that was extensively discussed in this country, it was this finance bill.
Yeah.
And our party held 2 parliamentary group meetings. That is where you expressed your reservations. That is where you can disagree with the party. But the moment the party takes a position, then you should abide by that position because it is informed. Actually, after even having the PG, the last PG, we had to have a meeting with our members. The Economic Council of the party, where I sit, over Zimio actually, where I sit, we took members clause by clause on this finance bill, something we have never done before. Now, when these members then go and vote against the party, it is rebellion now. You cannot term that as exercising their rights. I don't know where in the world, even if you go to the US, the Democrats and the Republicans, when they take a position on a matter,
That's it.
that is it. You
Regardless
go to
of your own
yes,
personal
regardless-
thoughts or rights.
Because something that I think also I need to mention, Muga. These members, and I hear it a lot in the debates, complain that their rights are being trampled on, that they have rights to associate, the rights to vote with their conscience. But remember, when you decide to run for a political party, for a political office,
Through.
you are seeking a mandate
Yes.
from somebody. The power that you have does not belong to you. It is a delegated power.
Yes.
It is exercised on behalf of other people. So before you make a decision, you must ask yourself, are you working in the interest of those people? Now, for example, let's give example of Karoli Omondi, who is my MP. 25,000 voters of Soba South woke up. I'm one of them because I voted for him. Woke up very early in the morning. In fact, I had to drive 60 kilometers because I spent the night in Homa Bay, which is 60 kilometers to my constituency, to be one of the first ones on the line to vote for him. I was voting for him because he sought the mandate of
your
my
party.
people through ODM.
Right.
And my thinking, and the thinking of, I think, the 25,000 people, the 25,000 of us who voted for him against the 13,000 who voted for independent candidates, were you are going to follow the policies and support the interests of the ODM
And the
party.
ideals
Now,
of the
if
party.
you decide, and it is your democratic right, and you feel that you no longer find yourself confident to associate with that interest and the policies of ODM, we are being democratic and we are telling you,
Go back to the.
you can resign and go back to the same Soba South voters. If they give you mandates, again, either as independent candidate or on another political party, no one will bother with you. You will not hear me forwarding their names to the
to anybody
disciplinary
else.
committee.
Has the ODM as a party rescinded formally its decision not to recognize William Ruto as president?
We haven't.
So when you met with William Ruto, did you flout the party?
We did not. Let me again put that in, because it's again overused. Our political party constitution gives the political party leader, our party leader, certain responsibilities. One of them is to discuss and negotiate and give the policy direction of the party, discuss any arrangement or coalition or whatever. Now, I want to be a bit fast. When we discussed, it was an arbitration. I'm sure you are now aware that Obasanjo was here to discuss. There was a controversy. We were in the streets. We were demonstrating that we don't recognize Ruto. One, we want server opened. We want cost of living. All this. So when that discussion came, it was not in recognition of William Ruto as the president. but we were meeting William Ruto
As the adversary.
as the adversary and discussing. And if you look at agenda items at Bomas, one of them is respect for political party democracy. This issue is one of them on the table. Opening of server is on the table. Why would we be calling for opening of the server if we have recognized
So
it?
ahead of the Homa Bay meetings, that time the party had not taken a position.
That time we did not. We had just come from election. Ruto was pronounced the winner. Then there was a Supreme Court. We said we will agree with it. We will accept, although we don't agree. Now that time, the additional information provided by the whistleblower
Had not come up.
and the party had not communicated that now we don't recognize
Answer
William
given.
Ruto as the president.
Let's leave it there. Thank you very much for joining
you
us,
too.
Mheshimiwa.
Thank you.
ODM Chairman John Mbadi has been our guest this morning. Thank you for tuning in to Kenya's biggest conversation. Have a lovely day, people. It's 10 a.m.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your